You Hello, everyone. Let me just get back to my Zoom, my Zoomie. There she is. Yay! So happy Patty's Day to all, and a special shout out to my 110 first cousins in Traverse City, Michigan. The Gallagher McManus clan is celebrating today. So there are leaders that we meet across the country that shine above all others when it comes to making positive change happen in their organization. They're what we refer to as early adopters. And these early adopters take our solutions and they create greatness out of them within their own sphere of influence. So I'm deeply honored that my guest today, Carolyn Anderson, who is the Director of Quality Resources and our initiative champion of the Soaring Journey at the Richland Hospital in Richland Center, Wisconsin. Welcome, Carolyn.
Good morning, Jane. Glad to be here.
It's National Patient Safety Week. Our theme for the month is creating a safe and satisfying patient experience for patients and their families, as well as for employees, providers, and physicians who care for those patients and their families. And our talk today is about just culture. And we see sometimes organizations kind of shying away from that animal, because part of having a truly just culture is also part of having a truly psychologically safe work environment. And when you really peel away the onion and find out some things that maybe aren't as psychologically safe as you would like them to be, then that hurts, right? It hurts. And as well as it's kind of a gray area. It's not a task that you can check off. It's not a technique that you can teach a leader. So it gets kind of shoved to the back, right? So, Carolyn, you are considered by all of us at Capstone Leadership Solutions to be the reigning queen of just culture when it comes to our partner organizations. We've been able to refer lots of organizations to you, and you have helped people. I truly believe, working in several states, that Wisconsin did really the best job of rolling. Wisconsin Hospital Association and the Rural Wisconsin Health Cooperative did this great job of rolling out just culture and training for both employees and leaders. However, sister, you were 2 steps ahead of them. So I was there when it got rolled out at the Richland Hospital. So tell me, we talked a little bit about when you initially did all that research and did the initial training, and what it feels like to you to remember back then and then live just culture. So train just culture and live just culture. Tell me your observations in that process.
Well, when they train on just culture, the concept sounds really great. And, you're supposed to evaluate, what happened, why it happened. They have an algorithm that's fabulous. But it's until they actually live through a scenario, it's not real. It's just a lot of words on a piece of paper. And so, we did a lot of this training and we weren't seeing it implemented. And so it really took event by event to sit down with leaders and their staff to actually, we literally said, Carolyn's here to make sure that this is happening in a just culture way, that we have this conversation. And it wasn't until we started living through those examples, one event at a time, that the staff and leaders really started to understand what does just culture mean. So that is not a one-day process by any means. I went through the Just Culture certification course, and even just listening to them teach the course, I thought, they're really missing something in training this program, because there's not enough day-to-day real examples. The examples oftentimes that they give are big things, like somebody died, And we need to go through the process of figuring out, why that happened. We don't want to, if it's public, oftentimes their examples are the big ones that are public. And to make it live in the organization, we had to get down to the day-to-day events where Just Culture has to be put into place. So one of our first really classic successes was one of our physicians came into my office and we had a pediatric patient discharged. Mom came in the next day, didn't know how much medicine, and immediately we sat down as a group and said, what happened? Why did this happen? And we immediately got back to a process failure that we didn't have the step-by-step written down for a med-surg nurse to go through when discharging a patient. So, some people may say, well, it's common sense, you should have done that better. Well, we had a system failure and we were easily able to recognize that. And the nurse involved felt very safe with the conversation because she took accountability for, her role in it. I could have done this, I could have done that, but the organization took accountability in the role of not having that step-by-step written out for all the staff. And in the end, we had a much better process. Everyone felt safe in the conversation. And so it is just day by day examples that we worked through. And it really took a lot of, like I said, side by side with the leaders and the employee with starting the conversation saying, I'm here to keep you safe. Mm-hmm. I'm here to keep this conversation safe, and make sure that, everybody takes some accountability in what happened, and we're very process focused.
Right. Oh, that's fabulous. And, that is something that Sue and I tell overwhelmed leaders that don't know where to start. And, and we say, you have to get really, really good at what we refer to at Capstone Leadership as informal direct dialogue, where you're complimenting, calling out, where, a good catch is treated as a luscious opportunity, to make improvements. And so, what you did on the flip side, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, but you're also the peer champion for direct dialogue for your organization. So you're coaching other leaders on having direct dialogue. It might not have anything to do with Just Culture, but it probably has a lot to do with safety events and those sorts of things. Did you do that intentionally because the Just Culture conversations went so well?
I think it's very tightly mixed in with Just Culture. Direct dialogue and Just Culture, I think, are very, very intermixed because you have to feel very comfortable helping people understand their own accountability in events. And, our knee jerk is to blame. Fingers can be pointed so easily. And part of direct dialogue is having people look at themselves and how did I contribute to this? How can I make it better? Mm-hmm. And that direct dialogue is so much a part of that you keep people talking. I love your presentation on above the line, below the line conversation, and that all comes into this as well. Right. That people look at their accountability on both sides of the conversation. For a leader to say, I didn't do a great job with orientation for you. And so maybe this is why this error happened. We need to look at our orientation process so that this doesn't happen to the next person. And sure. When staff hear that, they're like, oh, well, yeah, I'm responsible for my choice, but I can see that this isn't going to happen to somebody else. And I was part of that.
That's a big deal, isn't it? That is a really big deal. I think another hesitation on the part of leaders, and we heard this like in the very fetus stage of Just Culture, was that some employees' response was, well, Just Culture means that I can never be disciplined for an error. Au contraire. And I think some organizations have handled that a lot better than others. So talk to me about what happened after you rolled this beast-o-rama out and started having of those great conversations and direct dialogue.
It's been fun to watch some departments and staff really take a hold. We do an AHRQ survey every year, and we had an interesting shift. We had really high scores before Just Culture, actually. And then after we rolled it out, we actually saw a drop in our scores.
Wow.
And talking to people, I really attribute it to the fact that people felt safe saying we have opportunities.
Oh,
and
nice.
so each year then our scores progressively got higher. And so our patient safety grade, sits around 90%, and that is with about 80% of our staff, including non-clinical. We have a non-clinical sub survey that we put out to staff. That is their input. And we also put out a survey with that asking all staff, do you feel like Just Culture, in the sense of it being a learning culture, a process improvement culture, is it alive and well in our organization? And about 87% of our staff have said that it's either fully implemented or mostly implemented. So that's pretty exciting, that staff feel like we are listening. On the survey, does administration think patient safety is a very high top priority? We sit about 89% of all staff saying that.
That's fabulous.
And we just linked in with we merged with our main clinic almost a year and a half ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had 100 new staff doing this survey, including our physicians. So pretty exciting to see, the physicians get involved in really giving their opinion on how do we do better. Yeah. So it's been a great journey, and love to hear staff saying they feel safe speaking up. And I really we take that survey and we sit down with staff and we ask them, what can we do to make this better? And we set our goals a lot on that, and we use Just Culture to assist with making those goals live. So handoff communication, how do patients see teamwork in our organization alive and well? And when we feel safe talking to each other, managing up, all those type things that Capstone loves to teach us, it all meshes together. So dialogue, Just Culture, feeling safe talking to each other at all levels is just critical for patient safety.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. That is, that's a great reminder for leaders everywhere who work so hard to put Just Culture things in place, and to have your culture of safety scores go down initially, but to make, lemonade out of lemons and think, hey, that's because people can speak up, and they're not just putting a yeah, I'm safe thing. They're saying, this is really what happens here. So good for you guys. Well, thank you so much, Carolyn.
Yeah,
Happy National
Patient
Safety Week. I know you guys got big parties going on there in Richland Center. And I want to remind our audience that there is just a few seats left in Galena, Illinois for the Leadership Summit, where you will learn all about becoming a highly reliable organization and the tools and equipment to do so. So that's April 27th through the 29th. Go to our website, capstoneleadership.net, and sign up. Thanks again, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.